In a recent study, they measured the effects of having glycine in a calorie-restricted diet versus one without, and the results are shocking. It led to them losing 14% more total body fat. They lost 26% more visceral fat, and even crazier, they lost 27% less lean body mass, which is actually critical to maintaining the metabolism when you are in a dieting phase. So if you want to improve your metabolic health, if you want to lose more body fat, and also have anti-aging effects, glycine is something that you must add to your diet. Now, I'm not going to tell you to supplement it, as in the end of the video, I'm going to give you some alternative food ways to get this into your diet so that you can make it more effective to getting the proper results that you want. So what is glycine? Well, there are two things that it really does, and one, it's an amino acid, meaning that helps your body to make proteins, and your body's a whole entire protein making machine, and it is one that is considered conditionally essential, meaning that your body can make it on its own, but if you are stressed or you have some things I'm about to tell you, then you may not be getting enough and become glycine deficient. Now, that's just the amino acid side, but also glycine acts as a neurotransmitter, which is the same function as GABA A, which is another function that you may know of helping you to relax, like a benzodiazepine, a sleep aid, or even alcohol. So it has the same type of effects in the system, making it very calming, anxiety reduction, and also helping you to fall asleep, and more things about fatigue reduction here in a minute. So that's sort of the main actions here. Let's get into the actual benefits. And the first thing I want to go over is insulin sensitivity and diabetic responses. So the first thing here is that glycine intake is inversely correlated with obesity and type 2 diabetics. And actually, as a fact, I was doing some research into Ray Peat's article for you here today, and he said that gelatin and glycine have recently been reported to facilitate the actions of insulin in lowering blood sugar and alleviating diabetes. Gelatin has been used successfully to treat diabetes for over 100 years. And now the world's waking up to this. There's many new studies being shown that glycine is helping people to have better insulin sensitivity, lowering HbA1c levels, and also improving type 2 diabetic symptoms. And as a fun fact here too, if you actually want to test this out for yourself, if you have a little bit of glycine food, which I'm about to tell you here at the end of the video, you'll notice that your blood sugar response is much, much lower, which again is some way helping out your insulin sensitivity, helping you to have better metabolic health. So that's just one of the first effects, and it's probably one of the most important, especially as an American. But the next thing that we actually want to look at is the effects on anti-aging and longevity. So the most up to par things we have on longevity and increasing lifespan, methionine restriction. Methionine is another amino acid, and glycine helps to offset that within the body, creating it very balanced. So you can try and like restrict methionine all the way, but the amount of protein you have to restrict is unbelievable in order to get those results. But if you just add glycine into your diet, it helps to balance out methionine as well as other inflammatory amino acids like tryptophan and cysteine. All this together means that you're going to live longer and have a happier, healthier life. So the next part beyond balancing the amino acids is the activation of autophagy, or one of the main benefits talked about when you are doing a fasting protocol or diet setup. So in essence, autophagy is that cleanup crew, meaning that it comes into your cells and gets rid of all the toxic waste and just allows you to have a better operating system. But I think the best thing about this is that if you just add glycine to your diet, you get the same benefits of autophagy and that same benefit of the fast without actually fasting. So that actually helps your body to be in a much lower stressed out environment because you're not having the activation of the stress hormones when you are in a fasting protocol, and you're having more food in a balanced take. And I think that that could be a better way to actually improve your health as a whole just through that system right there. Next up is some of the hormonal modulating effects. And this is for my guys out there who are struggling with social anxiety, mood, or just not feeling too up to par in life. Glycine is so cool because it helps to increase 5-alpha reductase activity within the brain stem, meaning that helps improve the amount of allopregnanolone going into your body through the hormonal pathway. What this really does is that if you have adequate gelatin or glycine before going out to a social event, you're going to feel much more calm, chill, and not like amped up like you're about to do something, and also not have that anxiety around. So it's pro mood, pro social, and it's going to help you get better with the ladies. So if you want to have better dates, get some glycine in your system. Now we just talked about some of the calming effects, and now let's get into the sleep. Glycine works on a few different pathways to help you sleep better, and the main ones here are going to be it help lowering your core body temperature. With a small dosage of glycine before bed, it's going to mimic that of a hot shower before bed. And in many cultures, this has been known to help induce sleep quality, meaning if you have a hot shower before bed, you raise the core temperature of your body, and then your body has to actively cool it down for you to get ready for sleep. And also the colder you are, really the better your sleep quality is going to be. All right. Glycine helps do that just by supplementing it without the shower. So that's just one effect of helping you get better sleep. And in addition, it helps people to wake up more refreshed and with less fatigue. And in a recent study they did here, they tested the effects of having glycine at sleep and versus those who didn't. And the ones who had glycine had a massive reduction in daytime fatigue and increased the response times and also their alertness. So that tells me even more that a lot of you who are working very high stress jobs, or if you are a high performing individual, that glycine is actually essential for you to help reduce fatigue and do better work throughout the entire day. Now there's one caveat here, that if you have the genetic variant variant that it can be the opposite, meaning is excitatory, then this may have the opposite effect. So if you are somebody who's wanting to try out a lot of glycine into your diet, make sure to start in the middle of the day whenever you're doing this, in case you do have that genetic variant. But for most of you, that's not going to be the case. Next, we move into oxidative stress and cardiovascular health. Whenever they added glycine into the diets of people with metabolic syndrome, it lowered oxidative stress by about 25%. That is a massive reduction, and it's not just that effect. They also tested this in a big cross-sectional study recently on the effects of glycine intake as a whole in China. What they found is that those who had adequate glycine in their diet had a lower blood pressure, reduced obesity markers, better lipid profiles, a lower body weight, and all from one simple intervention of just having glycine. So if you're not sold already, like, come on, man, what else you need to know? So the last thing is that glutathione, the master antioxidant in your body, is glycine dependent for its synthesis. So meaning that if your body's dealing with a lot of oxidative stress, you're going to have to ramp up glutathione production in order to counter all of that. But if you don't have adequate glycine, your body's not going to make adequate glutathione in order for you to actually make that happen and have all those protective effects. So let's get tactical. How do you add more glycine into your diet? And also, what food sources, supplementation, and dosage do you need? Well, let's start with the food sources, as I think that is the best way for you to get this amino acid. The best food sources are going to be things such as ground beef, bone broth, oxtail, beef shank, grass-fed powdered gelatin, gummies if you can also make this homemade, and collagen powder. So here's one little secret that makes it more convenient, cost-effective, and also help you to get more glycine easily. I take 2 of these ingredients right here and I combine them, ground beef and powdered gelatin. I do this because Ray Peat said that if a person eats a large serving of meat, it's probably helpful to have 5 or 10 grams of gelatin at approximately the same time, so that the amino acids enter the bloodstream and balance. And this is really the easiest way that you can get that effect and also have all the amino acids coming in balance. So it's very simple. Get your bowl of ground beef, and if you want to have potatoes, rice, whatever, and at the end, just scoop a powder of gelatin on there, of this powdered gelatin. You're going to get a lot of glycine, and also it makes the meal just taste a little bit better. It's got this like not really sticky effect. It's going to sound like bad to say. You're going to think I'm weird eating this, but it's actually very tasty and I highly recommend it. It's also very cheap. Just go get yourself a nice grass-fed gelatin, and that would be my recommendation as the best source. Well, a lot of the positive effects happen at just 3 grams per day. But what I have noticed is that if you increase that to higher amounts, from 10 to 20 grams per day, you have very positive effects, and it just makes you feel the way it should be as a GABA-A similar neurotransmitter. All right. So if you want to do that, try to get to about 10 to 20 grams per day coming from these food sources. And if you want to move all the way up into the higher amounts, up to 50 grams, you're just going to get really better benefits from that. I've seen that myself, eating up to 50 grams of gelatin per day. I just feel better every time that I do it. I'm more chill, and it feels like meditation in a powder. So the bottom line is this: glycine is one of the most evidence-backed interventions that you can add into your diet with a very minimal side effect profile. This is one of Pete's favorite things that he talked about, is amino acid balance. So it's something that does get my approval as well, coming from a bioenergetic background. So that is it for this video. And if you have an experience with glycine, go ahead and drop a comment down below of how it made you feel and the effects that you had. In addition, if you have any more ideas for video topics that you want to know, put a comment down below and I promise I'm gonna make that video happen. All right, that's it for this one. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.